being engaged with the German fighters there, straight in once more, deep into the German half.
Getting as close to the action as we can here without, you know, someone collecting the camera with, oh, fantastic shot to the head by that German polearm. Unfortunately, in these 21 versus 21, you can get caught up with your own teammates.
Yeah, that's
He's about to go down on a body, holding his feet well.
It's a final rush there coming from one side.
Losing a weapon from one of the Germans, making his way back to the baseline to get a spare weapon. Seems like it's being called with there only being probably about 3 or 4 German fighters left.
And that has been called.
I do believe the Russians obviously have that, as they did have the last round, so that would probably be the end of that.
It's a 2-0 victory. However, more importantly now, the Czech Republic with their Hungarian mercenaries are 1-1 against Spain, who've got their first round, the second round victory there.
So a very tense next round we're going to see. Looks like some of the Hungarian fighters are stepping out due to damages in the armor, but they seem to have enough subs. Now obviously this replay here, you can see some fantastic polearm work by the Germans. This is something that is going to obviously help them in further fights, but the Russians, they themselves match with their own polearm work. Very well known for that. Something I believe that they either seem to perfect, or at least know how it works, is the jackhammer principle. This idea of having one polearm hitter on your head, followed by another one. So the same victim hitting by 5 polearms, one after another, creates a barrage of strong hits. So now we see the bottom list with the Czech Republic taking their field or on the line, ready to go. Spanish seeing a bit frayed, not sure if they're ready for the next fight. Probably energy a bit spent from the last round. We'll see how quickly they are ready to go.
I'd say so.
I'm hearing a medical call, I believe.
That's right, yeah. I think that's something outside the list there.
Definitely no one inside the list with any sort of injury, but people can be fatigued and even collapse after a fight has happened.
Yes, that's true. You can see just at the top there, the UK team are ready and waiting to get into the list. The Czech fighters holding their line here.
With that giant standing ready.
Yes.
Seems like he's chosen a poleaxe this time. He had a long sword before.
Well, I think he's got to take advantage of his height there. Wielding a poleaxe is the smart idea if you do have a height advantage.
That long sword, though, whenever it comes down, he collects them quite hard.
Oh, he does.
And the one beautiful thing about, obviously, any weapon that has bladed edges, the bladed edge is going to be the most painful.
Sure.
Majority of the time, especially if it hits anything that's unarmored. So having an axe gives you a very small area of, I would say, pain and larger area of shock. The whole point of a forward-facing part of a blade is it carries more energy with it. You connect before you think you're going to connect, which is one of the points of falchions and heavy-tipped weapons.
Absolutely.
But the longsword, meaning that wherever you connect, you're going to deliver that pain. You're going to deliver that pressure per square inch.
I can see 2 teams on the back of losses. The USA lost against Italy and the UK lost against Russia are about to face off.
Focusing now, obviously, on the Czech team and the Spanish team, obviously waiting for this fight to kick off. Not sure as to what's happening. Looks like they're still waiting on something just off the side of the screen. The Night Marshal is conferring with a few of these other marshals to figure out what's happening. Czech being ready, and this is not the first or the last time you're going to see a mass battle team ready and waiting for the other team to be ready. So much coordination required to have everything down pat, and sometimes all it takes is for more than budgeted amount of people to have their armor fail, and you need to find someone to replace some armor, fix an armor, or get a new team member in. The fight is off.
It's off. An early rush on one side of there from the Czech, who
pushing really hard by the Czech in the north. Yes,
driven right back deep into Czech territory. However, into Spanish territory. Excuse me.
As we can see, obviously these giant here getting those two hands.
So both teams are looking to push through with some crushing blows at the moment. You can see how far and hard they are forced into the ground. A big advantage there from the Spanish. The Czech fighter manages to stay up, having taken him down.
As we can see, there's a bit of an outnumbering in the center of the field, with a few fighters getting outnumbered. But
fighters are dropping all the time now.
And we're seeing that Czech fighter went down while trying to take another one down.
That's
Smart moves from that Czech fighter trying for a trip, but unfortunately not enough up against the edge of the list. We have this Spanish fighters coming in with big two-handed weapons, but the same is happening with the Czech fighters at a different part of the field.
Very athletic, these Spanish fighters, however, they're able to resist these attacks. Great shot there.
Yes, he was. I don't think he was aware that that fighter was running right past the Spanish fighter.
And it's
becoming a bit of a clinch here. Some fighters wanting to throw one another. We have some impressive paintwork on that helmet there. Not enough to...
yeah, you've got a great throw down there. Unfortunately, the Spanish fighter went down too.
Again, another fight to the line. This is going to be an intense fight here.
Yeah, I do think, however, the Czech Republic does have the advantage in terms of numbers.
We seem to have lost a weapon in the top left corner here. He seems to have no weapon on himself and has decided to just go down.
And that's it, and he can't fight back at that point. And there's a big rush there from the Czech fighter, charges into him.
But this is met, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see how this ends up. You're able to see, obviously, the UK and America getting ready in that top list there. We'll pass to that shortly. You can see in the bottom corner, obviously, the spare Spanish fighter taking on the spare Czech fighter, but the Czech do actually have the numbers at the moment.
And they're going for a takedown there. But he could take two of them down at the same time. You can see the fatigue of the Czech fighters at this point.
When there's so many other people dead on the ground, it becomes a very complicated thing. Remember, if a torso touches a torso, that they are also out. Yep. Oh, then that fighter is down. That was using the body very sensibly. But now it seems to be the two largest Spanish fighters in the middle there. One Spanish fighter just barely hanging on, and he's down. Now we have those two against the largest Spanish fighter.
There's an absolute pile of bodies there. Just on the other side of the list, you do have two Czech fighters against one big Spanish fighter.
The big Spanish fighter getting some good knees in there, but not enough to make a difference. Trying to trip him. It seems that the Czech fighters...
Oh, that's a massive takedown there from Spain. It evens out the score.
Unfortunately, one of the Czech fighters was paused by a marshal for some armor questioning about the thumb. This means it's now a 3-2 fight. This Spanish fighter, the larger one, being an aggressive attacker, but now being tangled up with another two-handed poleaxe wielder.
You can see that absolutely smashed that polearm. Hopefully the Spanish fighter will be able to capitalize on the time advantage that he has before the other Czech fighter can come back with a new weapon. He comes back already.
Oh, unfortunately not with any poleaxe, so now he's caught.
I'm very surprised at that. I don't think that was a smart move. He should have taken advantage of the numbers he had there.
No, I think he tried. Unfortunately, didn't get a hook around the Czech fighter's helmet. That Czech fighter is very close to the ground now.
Oh, so is the Spanish fighter, though. I'm not sure how this is going to go. They might both go down at the same time.
If I was that Czech fighter, I'd hold on for dear life.
Dropping blows coming from that Czech fighter, but you can see the fatigue, and he's in a good position to take
and the Czech fighter's down.
Oh, and then it's 2 versus 2.
He was only supported by that Spanish fighter up against the wall.
Right, and we've got these two big Spanish fighters.
To be honest, if it comes down to size, I think they've got it. But
however, look at the big Czech with the yellow and black helmet there. He's in a very dangerous position because he does have a grounded Czech fighter behind him, so he may trip up. And I think
the large Spanish fighter.
I think that the Czech fighter is trying to use that grounded fighter to his advantage.
He might do. This becomes a game of endurance between these two poleaxe wielders to the left. Yeah. On the right side, we have obviously a sword and shield user against a single.
And his helmet has come loose in one arm, so he's got to be very, very careful. He's not guilty of pulling down the helmet. You can see the marshals now. I pointed that out, and I think he's.
I don't believe he was grabbing it, though. They're all saying he is, but I can see.
I think he was very close to it. I think that was a temptation. I think the marshal was right not to stop it, but to tap on the hand to make sure he was aware that it could have been a legal move. That is fair enough.
Agreed. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people surrounding the list, and some people like to give their opinion before it's warranted. So we need to make sure that we let our marshals do their jobs.
This is absolutely intense right now. They must be going through so much absolute pain. They must be exhausted at this point.
Especially when it's a 1-to-1, and so now we're seeing the decider. This is it. This is what decides who wins.
Falchion against Falchion. Polearm against Polearm.
And at this moment, there is going to be this is going to be down to the line, the last person standing. There is no way to default this.
If the Spanish can pull this off, it will be something quite incredible against the experienced Czech team, but they are not to be underestimated.
But the Czech's not letting up. He's doing his best to push back. Seemingly, obviously, we have them both getting very tired. The Spanish fighter just off screen is trying to get away to help his comrade, but that Czech fighter is not letting him go, holding onto his arm, dropping of the head, meaning that he's probably that big Spanish fighter's probably getting a little tired.
I think they're going to be broken up there because of a lull in the action.
Not the most favourable thing, but none of them really had an advantage in their position.
That's true.
So no bodies are allowed to move, and hopefully no one decides to get up.
Where they are, but the thing is the Czechs have moved back into a useful position. I think they're going to slam right back into them. However, it is the Spanish that take the fight to the Czechs.
I really shouldn't have used that space to their, like they should not have had that space. Nope. As the smaller fighters, they should have been around the bodies. Something to learn from the Israeli team. Again, this Spanish fighter not able to do anything, but also not easily taken down. Oh, nice leg sweep there, but not enough. Need to follow up with a twist of the core to bring him down.
Yeah, of course, it's his opposing leg which has all the weight on it. So
it seems like they've swapped oppositions, though. Obviously, each fighter is now against a fighter that they're not used to.
I don't think that's going to be an advantage there.
The Czech fighter off screen has just taken down the Spanish, leading to a 2-on-1 fight. Wow. Seems like they're breaking it up. I'm not sure why. Either this is becoming a lull in action, maybe the Spanish might forfeit, or...
I'm not exactly sure. It was a very, very tense moment, and of course, you know, once again, the Spanish have found themselves, well, the Spaniard has found himself.
The Spanish is hugging out the Czech. Maybe this is it. Maybe they've conferred.
La victoria es para la República Checa.
That's it, yep. The Czech Republic victors in that nail-biting round. A long time since I've seen one like that.